the U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters exactly the same way as we are sending their sons and daughters to war, and they will have to fight. Because it's NATO that we're talking about, and they will be dying, God forbid, because it's a horrible thing.
I refuse to bend the knee to their next endless war in Ukraine. I want peace. They want money and they want conflict, even if it means walking us into the brink of World War III, which frankly it is doing, and it's doing it rapidly.
Holy moly, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it there. Donald Trump is sending a warning to the European countries, 30 of them, including Canada, that he is about to step away if they continue to fund this war and get in the way of peace. Ladies and gentlemen, Zelensky went overseas. He also went to Canada. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to show you videos of the European countries and also Canada backing up and basically saying some crazy things about the United States of America and how they are willing to put boots on the ground. So let me ask you guys this, because Donald Trump doesn't want to put boots on the ground. Do you support the United States of America getting out of NATO? That would be huge. But it looks like that's what Trump wants to do, because these people are leading us and they're gambling with World War III. If you don't believe me about the boots on the ground thing that I just mentioned about UK and its prime minister, take a look at this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the prime minister proposes a new plan for Ukraine, wants Europe to up their economy spending, and says the UK are prepared to back this with boots on the ground and planes in the air. What is happening? And maybe this is one of the reasons why Trump is very strong on leaving NATO. Take a look.
First, we will keep the military aid flowing and keep increasing the economic pressure on Russia to strengthen Ukraine now. Second, we agreed that any lasting peace must ensure Ukraine's sovereignty and security, and Ukraine must be at the table. Third, in the event of a peace deal, we will keep boosting Ukraine's own defensive capabilities to deter any future invasion. Fourth, we will go further to develop a coalition of the willing to defend a deal in Ukraine and to guarantee the peace. Not every nation will feel able to contribute, but that can't mean that we sit back. Instead, those willing will intensify planning now with real urgency. The UK is prepared to back this with boots on the ground and planes in the air. Together with others, Europe must do the heavy lifting. But to support peace in our continent and to succeed, this effort must have strong US backing. We're working with the US on this point. After my meeting,
they are trying to involve Trump in this. This guy has not mentioned peace one time. He's mentioned a continuation of war. And now he wants to put boots on the ground and planes in the air. This is the most dangerous talk in the world. This is why Trump is revolting against all of this.
Meeting with President Trump last week. And let me be clear, we agree with the president on the urgent need for a durable peace. Now we need to deliver together. Finally, we agreed that leaders will meet again very soon to keep the pace behind these actions and to keep working towards this shared plan. We are at a crossroads in history today. This is not a moment for more talk. It's time to act, time to step up and lead, and to unite around a new plan for a just and enduring peace.
That is very unfortunate. That this is what these guys sound like. It's so devastating that they are willing to put boots on the ground. I mean, look at all of them. Look at NATO. Look at the European countries. 30 of them. You can't believe any of these people when they say they want peace, because they don't mention this. What they're mentioning now is, once again, boots on the ground and continuing this war. And that is very dangerous. And that's the game, once again, that Trump does not want to play. Now, something else that's huge is Secretary Bessent, who is the U.S. Secretary of Treasury. He dropped a bombshell on Zelensky on Fox. This is crazy. Take a listen.
President Trump sent me there to, again, we were supposed to bring the Ukrainian people closer to the U.S. people, send a strong signal to Russian leadership that they had not only shared values, but now shared economic interest, and also have a strong signal for the American people that their tax dollars were actually going to work. Instead, President Zelensky and I had a very tough 45-minute meeting at a very loud decibel level, and I kept telling him, Mr. President, the purpose of this is to show the Russians there is no daylight between us. And at the end of the meeting, he said, well, I'm not signing this. I said, at the end of the meeting, I said to him, what do you want to go out and tell the press? I said, because I don't want to go out and show the Russians that there's daylight in between us. And he said, well, I'm going to go out and say I'll sign it in Munich. Then he got to Munich and he ran into Vice President Vance and Secretary Rubio, very different than Vice President Harris and Secretary Blinken, but he didn't sign the agreement. So finally, we were supposed to have the signing today. It was supposed to be a great day, and this is one of the biggest own goals in diplomatic history.
Wow. It looks like Zelensky has been arguing with everybody, every United States leader. That even leaders like Rhino Republicans, like Lindsey Graham, are stepping away from him and basically saying that the only way to continue is for you to have an election. They're trying to force him to have an election now. This has been one of the craziest operations in the United States of America, one of the greatest proxy wars as far as results that we've ever had, in a bad way. And now we're getting Vladimir Zelensky, basically, right? We got some breaking news here. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, he says, as it regards to my resignation, to change me, it will not be easy because it is not enough to simply hold elections. You'll have to negotiate with me. What? I'm exchangeable for NATO membership. This guy, all he wants is NATO membership. Trump knows that. Trump has called it out. He said numerous amounts of time, this guy he doesn't want peace. Come back here when you want peace. So what does he do? He goes to every NATO country, meets with them, meets with the UK. Now the UK is talking like that. This has probably been one of the most genius things, or one of the most con artist things. And I'm not sure which side you guys are on when it comes to this, but this is absolute craziness. Scott Jennings drops a nuke on people supporting, because all of a sudden now we got Democrats that support this war. They all of a sudden, it's like the Trump derangement syndrome has really gone out of hand. And I want you to listen to this sentiment here by Scott Jennings on CNN.
Instead, we are heading towards a potential government shutdown that will only hurt the American people.
It's amazing to me, by the way, we're having this debate because Joe Biden was president for 4 years and ran the country off into the ditch. And that's why Kamala Harris lost the election. And now Donald Trump's been president for about 5 minutes. And Democrats are like, well, my gosh, why isn't somebody fixing all the problems we caused? I just don't think voters are that silly, really. I mean, I think they take a longer view of this. His report card will ultimately come in the midterms, which isn't until next year. Until then, he's got to get the Republicans in Congress to come along with him on this reconciliation plan, on extending and making permanent the tax cuts. And then the American people are going to give it a chance to work. But the guy took office in January, and he's trying to unravel a mess that was 4 years in the making. I think he's got a little more leash than maybe you're giving him credit for.
Instead,
that is a mic drop moment, because liberals are basically trying to blame Trump for all the bad things that are happening. But really, what they failed to realize is he's only been there for literally 5 minutes, like Scott Jennings said. And if he gets us out of NATO, if he, if he gets the IRS out of here and creates the External Revenue Service, there's so many things. Look, if he stops this war, that'd be great. We could get a ceasefire deal. That'd be great. There's so many things happening in the United States of America that are headed in a good way, but people just need to be patient. And I said before, things will get ugly before they get beautiful, specifically when the last administration did what they did. But Americans on the left, very progressive ones, or even the boomer liberals, they are so hung up on Trump bad that they're not willing to see this through. They don't even see what's going on with the manipulation, in my opinion, of a Zelensky. They'll eat up his words and praise him. It seems like liberals are on the side of Mexico, on the side of anybody that basically we're going to challenge because we want something more in return for us Americans. Mexico, Canada, European nations, Zelensky, they've all sided with those people, and they keep doing it, which is just absurd. So again, Trump lays the hammer down, laying the hammer down, basically saying, I will not walk to World War III with y'all. Y'all can have it. We don't want it. But then they're saying that we can't do this without the United States of America. So it's about to be a crazy week. Buckle up. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, because we might get crazy news. He's already dropping bombs on NATO and on Zelensky in front of the world. Get ready for big news coming up this week, ladies and gentlemen. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one.